In a quiet corner of Maryland State Park, there's a small building made of deep red stone. It looks peaceful, like a postcard from another time. It was built back in 1866 from the same iconic sandstone as the Smithsonian Castle in Washington, D.C. But don't let its serene looks fool you. Those red walls hide an incredible story about a forgotten promise, a humble farmer, and a community's desperate fight for a better life. This isn't just about an old building. It's about a secret that's been hiding in plain sight for over 150 years. Today, we're uncovering the secret of the Seneca Schoolhouse. Welcome to the Seneca Schoolhouse Museum, a perfectly preserved slice of the 19th century. Every year, visitors, many of them kids on school trips, wander through these doors. They get a quick taste of what school was like back in the day. They sit at the old wooden desks, picture a strict teacher at the front of the room, and then they head home, thinking that's the whole story. But the real story here isn't what was taught. It's why it was built in the first place. This school wasn't a government project or a gift from some rich tycoon. It was the dream of one man, a local farmer who took on a project his neighbors probably thought was impossible. So that led us to a simple question. Why? In the tough years right after the Civil War, why would a farmer pour everything he had into this little one-room school? The answer isn't about lost gold or buried treasure. It's about a community's fierce determination to build a legacy, a story that begins with the very stones in the walls. Before we can get to the man who built this place, you have to understand the stone. This isn't just any red rock, it's Seneca sandstone. If you've ever been to the National Mall in D.C. and seen that fairy tale-like building, the Smithsonian Castle, then you've seen the Seneca Schoolhouse's sister. For a while in the 19th century, the Seneca Quarry was the place to get stone. Its deep red and purple sandstone was famous for its beauty and strength. The quarry ruins are still there, arches, tail races, and all. Stay tuned, because in a few weeks we'll infiltrate what's left of that ghost industrial site. Barges carried the sandstone down the C&O Canal to build some of the most important buildings in the nation's capital. This stone was a symbol of prestige, of federal power, of American ambition. So right away we have our first big puzzle piece. How did this celebrated, nationally famous building material end up in the walls of a humble, one-room schoolhouse in rural Maryland? The stone itself is the first clue that this wasn't just any old project. Someone was making a statement. Someone wanted this little school to feel just as permanent, just as important, as the grand buildings going up miles away. That someone was a man named Upton Darby. To find Upton Darby's story, you have to do some digging. He's not in most mainstream history books. His story is tucked away in old county records, local historical archives, and in the land itself. In the mid-1800s, Darby was a farmer and a miller. The world around him was reeling from the Civil War, and for communities like Seneca, life was hard. Before 1865, the kids here had no formal school. They learned at home from overworked parents who often had little education themselves, or they just didn't learn at all. This is the world Upton Darby wanted to change. He saw that without an education, the children in his community were on a path to the same life of difficult manual labor as their parents. So he made a promise to himself and to his neighbors. He would build them a school. It was a radical idea. He wasn't a wealthy man. The project needed land, expensive materials, and skilled workers. Records show he started by collecting subscriptions, going door to door to every farm and mill, asking his neighbors to chip in whatever they could for his vision. Just imagine that for a second. A lone man, walking the dirt roads, trying to sell his neighbors on what must have sounded like a fantasy, a permanent school built to last for generations. And the Darby family didn't just ask for money, they led by example. They donated the very land the school was built on. For the building itself, they used the prized Seneca sandstone, turning a community project into a statement of profound civic pride. But Upton Darby didn't do it alone. His promise lit a fire under the whole community. While he provided the vision, the story of the school's construction is really the story of a town building its own future with its bare hands. Farmers, laborers, and craftsmen from all over the area pitched in with their time and skills. They dug the foundation, hauled and cut the massive sandstone blocks, raised the walls, and laid the floors. This schoolhouse wasn't a gift, it was earned. Every stone in these walls represents a family's sacrifice, a father giving up his weekend, and a shared belief that their children deserved better. In an era we often think of as all about rugged individualism, the Seneca Schoolhouse is a monument to the exact opposite: radical community spirit. From 1866 to 1876, the community ran the school themselves. They hired the teacher, usually a young man or woman earning just a few $100s a year. Families who couldn't pay the small fee would often let the teacher live with them as payment. It was a system built on trust and a shared goal. It wasn't until 1876 that the county school system took over, proving that Darby's vision had been a roaring success. So, what is the 150-year-old secret? It's not a hidden room or a lost treasure map. The secret is the very thing we've just uncovered, the forgotten truth of what the schoolhouse stands for. The secret is that in a time of national division and local poverty, a community decided the best thing they could invest in wasn't more land or a bigger barn. It was the minds of their children. The secret is Upton Darby's powerful idea that education isn't a luxury, but the foundation of freedom and progress. He used the most prestigious material he could find to send a message across time, that educating a child in a small farming town is just as important as the grand work being done in the nation's capital. But that's not the only secret these walls hold. Like a lot of old, historic places, the Seneca Schoolhouse has a bit of a reputation. There are local legends, whispers of unexplained noises, and ghostly figures seen in the windows after dark. The historical society that cares for the building today focuses on its educational mission, but they acknowledge the local lore. It seems the echoes of the past, both inspiring and a little unsettling, have never really left this place. For 44 years, the schoolhouse delivered on its promise. From 1866 to 1910, this single room buzzed with the sounds of learning. Dozens of kids from 6 to 16 years old would pack into this one space. The little ones sat up front learning their ABCs, while the older students in the back tackled history, geography, and algebra. A single teacher was in charge of all of them, juggling a dozen lessons at once. Life was ruled by the school bell. The days were long, discipline was strict, and lessons were learned by rote, recited over and over. But for the children of Seneca, this little building was a window to a bigger world. It was a place where a farmer's son or a miller's daughter could learn to read about places they'd never go and ideas they'd never otherwise hear. But as the 20th century arrived, things started to change. Bigger, multi-room schools were being built, and the era of the one-room schoolhouse was fading. In 1910, the Seneca Schoolhouse rang its bell for the last time. And the story could have ended right there. After it closed, the building that was once the heart of the community was sold and unceremoniously carved up into a 4-room house. Decades passed. The world moved on. Eventually, the house was abandoned. The proud stone building, Upton Darby's great legacy, was left to rot. The roof caved in, the windows were smashed, and nature started to take it back. The promise was being forgotten. The building didn't get a second chance until 1970, when the state of Maryland bought the land for the new Seneca Creek State Park. But it still sat there, a ruin. The rescue mission fell to a small group of passionate locals, a nonprofit called the Historic Medley District. In the late 1970s, just like Upton Darby, a century before them, they started a campaign to save the school. They raised money and rallied the modern community to preserve what their ancestors had built. The restoration was a massive effort, but in 1981, the Seneca Schoolhouse Museum officially opened its doors. After another major restoration between 2010 and 2014, the schoolhouse now stands as strong as the day it was built, ready to teach its most important lesson. History isn't inevitable. It's saved by people who care. Dusty would have loved this stop. She's got a soft spot for one-room schoolhouses, something about the echoes of chalk and curiosity. If you haven't wandered through her corner of YouTube yet, I'll leave her link below. Today, the Seneca Schoolhouse is so much more than a museum. It's a testament to a farmer's promise and a community's incredible spirit. The secret it holds is one of vision, sacrifice, and the revolutionary idea that a town's greatest wealth is its children. Upton Darby didn't just build a school. He built a legacy that has now outlasted him by more than a century. Standing here, you can almost feel the weight of that legacy. A quiet but powerful reminder that the greatest stories are often hidden in the most unassuming places, just waiting for someone to ask, why? Stories like this are hidden all over our country, in old buildings and forgotten cemeteries. What forgotten histories are in your town? Let us know in the comments. And if you think these stories are worth saving, subscribe for more journeys into the past. In the meantime, thanks for wandering with us, and be sure to get out there and explore the world your way.